Hi everyone, I'm going to continue this series of the fantastic Daf Yomi. Friends, we are on page 106 of Masechet Bava Metzia. Chag Sameach to you all. And I'm going to start off with an amazing, famous Daf here on today's page, just in a mini, let's say, hotel area over here. And just coming outside, just to get nothing like coming into the festival of Shavuot, where everyone is going to be learning very much all of tonight. So friends, what's going on in today's page inside the Gemara is very interesting. We're going to see a locust swarm taking place in a district, let's just say, inside an area. And the problem is over here that someone is renting the field potentially. Someone's working the field as a shepherd over here, and all the produce is going to get devoured. It's going to get destroyed over here. And obviously it's going to be devastating. Now the question is over here, friends, over here, let's say that the person is renting this massive field, this massive field, it's harvesting and everything else, and it gets destroyed due to the locust swarm. He could argue over here that it was beyond his control. It was a regional disaster has occurred over here. And since there's been this regional disaster over here, why should he be responsible for it? He worked on things, he toiled and everything else. It was beyond his control. But what if it was so? Do we deduct from it or not? Does he? Is that taken into account when it's his field and everything else? Does he get compensation for it? He could also argue now in this case scenario that let's say he was a lazy farmer and he didn't work. He wasn't working with the shepherds properly and everything else, and got devoured anyway. He hasn't done his job at the end of the day, and now we can blame this locust swarm for all the produce getting destroyed when it didn't really work anyway. For the person that owns it, him as a renter, he gets off. Let's just say he still gets compensation and stuff like that. Now we could. That's another question that can arise over here. Well, what if, we know that there was famous story of the story of Komumiyut, where one time, I believe in the late, some stage, 50, 60 years ago, there was a field, and in the secular areas where people were not keeping the laws of Shemitah, there was a locust swarm, and a lot of the produce got devoured. And in the Shomrei Mitzvot areas, they didn't get touched. It was unscathed, the fields, because they were keeping the laws of Shemitah. What is the person that was harvesting the field, that was working in the field? He wasn't there, and he could argue to the owner of the field that had he had been there, because he's a righteous individual, a miracle would have happened. Just like we know the famous story of King David inside the Torah, where he was able to take on the bears and the lions through miraculous nature, because he was a great tzaddik. And there was other cases where the great Rabbanim, the great tzaddikim, they had their produces not affected because they had been in the vicinity, because they were such tzaddikim. They could argue, look, I'm a tzaddik. If I would have been there at the time, the field would have been unscathed over here. It would have been fine over here. They could argue that. So there's these cases, these problems, and these challenges that are brought inside the Daf in today's page here on 106. But one thing is, when it comes to mitzvot and the greatness of mitzvot, we see all throughout the Tanakh, the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim, the great miracles that happened for the tzaddikim, especially we know from the Daniel and the lion's pit. We know the famous story of the famous lion, where the great Moroccan rabbi had traveled in the desert and kept the Shabbat, and the lion came next to him and didn't touch him also. But also at the same time, being a tzaddik, being a righteous person in the vicinity, can actually protect people with regard to locust swarms and all these different things, and can actually be used as a case that could have been protective of the field if they had been there and maybe saved them from many things. It's a challenge within regard, but very interesting Gemara. I'd recommend everyone learn page Kufav 106 of Masechet Bava Metzia. Wishing all friends a fantastic Chag Sameach. I'm recording this just before the festival of Shavuot. Brachot from Israel. I'm wishing this Lilu Nishmat Abihu Ben Esther. Please, everyone, do good deeds in his memory. Lilu Nishmat, maybe this be a protection. And wishing all a fantastic Chag Shavuot Sameach. Try and stay up tonight and learn the Lord Torah and enjoy.